10 small daily habits that make you age faster without realizing it. Some people think aging happens on a birthday, that it arrives with a new decade, a gray hair, a doctor's warning, or a number on a cake. But the truth is, aging begins quietly, almost invisibly. It starts in the smallest things: a skipped stretch, a held breath, a rushed meal, a yes when you meant no. It happens while you're busy checking off your to-do list, telling yourself you'll rest tomorrow, love yourself later, slow down when you finally have time. But time isn't waiting, and neither is your body. Aging doesn't slam into your life all at once. It drips in, slowly, softly, so slowly that you don't even notice it. Until one day you wake up and realize you don't feel like yourself anymore. You're more tired than usual. You snap a little faster. You can't remember why you walked into the room. Your back aches more often. Your spark, the one that once burned bright, feels a little dimmer, and you think, maybe this is just part of getting older. But what if it's not? What if the version of aging we've accepted, exhausted, dull, disconnected, isn't inevitable at all? What if it's been shaped not by time, but by the habits we let sneak into our lives every single day? You see, most people don't age because of time alone. They age because of unconscious choices. Habits that don't feel dangerous. Choices that seem small. Patterns that repeat until they become identity. And here's the thing. No one says out loud, you can stop a lot of that. You can slow it down. You can reclaim the vitality, clarity, and peace you thought belonged to a younger version of you. This isn't about looking younger. This is about feeling alive longer. It's about waking up and realizing that your body, your mind, and your spirit are not giving up on you. They're just waiting for you to start paying attention. So today, we're going to gently pull back the curtain. We're going to look at 10 small daily habits that could be aging you faster without you even realizing it. Not to shame you, not to scare you, but to remind you that the life you want to feel isn't gone. It's still here, beneath the routine, beneath the burnout, beneath the years. You don't need to go back in time, you just need to notice the present a little more clearly, because aging is natural. But the speed at which it happens, that's up to you. Somewhere along the way, we started confusing rest with laziness. We began seeing stillness as something to be earned, only allowed after everything else is done. But here's the problem. Everything is never done. You finish the dishes, and then there's the email. You send the email, and then there's laundry. You fold the laundry, and then you remember that thing you forgot yesterday. So you tell yourself, just one more thing, and then another, and another. Until it's midnight, your back aches, your thoughts are noisy, and your body feels heavy in a way that sleep alone can't fix. That's not rest. That's collapse. Real rest doesn't wait at the end of a long to-do list. It's not the reward for productivity. It's the foundation for everything that matters. Your mind can't stay sharp without it. Your heart can't stay open without it. Your cells can't repair. Your immune system can't protect you. And your spirit? It can't whisper to you through all that noise. I used to tell myself I was just being committed, that I was strong for pushing through. But all I was really doing was draining the very life I was trying to live. You can only run on empty for so long before something starts breaking down. If you're always tired, always overwhelmed, always rushing, your body isn't betraying you. It's begging you to stop, to breathe, to recover. And here's what most people don't realize. Fatigue isn't always a matter of sleep. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's spiritual. And no amount of coffee or power naps can replace the kind of rest that comes from honoring your limits. If I could go back, I'd stop worshiping busy. I'd sit still more often. I'd say no to things that sounded important but cost me too much peace. And I'd remind myself that rest isn't weak. It's what keeps you strong, because aging doesn't just happen with time. It happens when you stop giving yourself time to heal. You ask people how they're doing all the time. It's automatic. How are you? You okay? What's wrong? But when was the last time you asked yourself? We're so good at tuning into everyone else's moods. We notice when our children are quiet, when our spouse is tense, when a friend doesn't sound quite like themselves. But when it comes to our own feelings, we brush them aside. We say, "I'm fine." We move on. We distract ourselves. We power through, and all the while, those unspoken emotions, the grief, the fear, the resentment, the loneliness, they keep stacking up inside like unopened mail. You tell yourself you don't have time to deal with it, or that it's not a big deal, or that you should be stronger. But emotions don't disappear. They don't dissolve. They store in your muscles, in your sleep, in your patience, in your relationships, in the way you react to small things. The body keeps the score. And over time, that emotional buildup becomes a kind of inner tension, one that ages you from the inside out. You see it in your face, and the lines form not from laughter but from clenched jaws and unshed tears. You feel it in your shoulders, your gut, your breath. Stress ages us not just through cortisol or inflammation, but through emotional neglect, through a life that runs too fast to stop and ask, "How am I really doing today?" Emotional check-ins don't have to be dramatic. They don't have to take an hour. Sometimes it's just a quiet pause in the morning, a moment at lunch, a walk without music, a journal, a breath, a whispered truth. Something that says, "I see you. I hear you. You matter." Because your emotional health is your physical health. And every day you ignore how you feel is a day. You put more weight on a system already stretched too thin. If you want to feel younger, lighter, more alive, start listening to yourself again. Not just what you need to do, but how you need to feel. It starts innocently enough. You wake up, you do your routine. Same breakfast, same news, same route, same people, same conversations. There's comfort in it, familiarity, structure. But somewhere along the way, something gets lost. You stop noticing the sunrise through the window. You forget what your coffee tastes like. You talk to your spouse but don't really hear them. You move through your life like it's a checklist instead of a gift. And one day you look back and realize a whole season passed, and you barely remember living it. That's the danger of autopilot. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels efficient. But what it really does is numb you. And a numb life is an aging life. Because your brain needs novelty. Your soul needs wonder. Your heart needs spontaneity. When you stop engaging with your life, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, something inside you begins to shrink. You don't have to live each day like an adventure novel, but you do have to be awake to it. Try brushing your teeth with the other hand, try a new food. Take a different route home. Pause and watch the light move across the floor. Look, really look, at the people you love when they talk. Ask a new question. Learn something small. Wake yourself up to the miracle of your own life. Because life isn't measured just in years. It's measured in presence. And every time you snap out of autopilot and choose to engage, you add color back into your world. And with that color comes aliveness, energy, youth. Not the kind that fades with age, but the kind that deepens with attention. So here's your invitation. Don't let another week slip by unnoticed. Don't let your routines become your reality. Wake up, look around, let wonder in. You're still here, so start living like it. It sounds too simple to be serious. Water? Really? But if there's one habit silently stealing years from people, especially as they age, it's dehydration. Not the dramatic kind, not the collapse on the floor kind, the quiet kind. The kind that happens sip by sip, day by day, year after year. As we get older, our sense of thirst dulls. We stop noticing when we're dehydrated. Fatigue sets in and we blame age. Our joints ache and we blame arthritis. We forget things and we blame the passing years. But sometimes, the culprit is a lot simpler than we think. Water is life. It lubricates your joints. It fuels your brain. It keeps your organs functioning and your energy steady. It carries nutrients, flushes toxins, cushions your spine. And when you're running low, everything suffers. I used to go hours without drinking water. Coffee? Yes, a quick soda. Sure. But water? only when I remembered. And I didn't realize how much it was costing me. I felt foggy, sluggish, tight. My skin was dry. My thoughts were slower. I thought it was just part of getting older. But it wasn't. It was dehydration, disguised as decline. If you want to age well, don't just think about what you eat. Think about what you drink. Start your day with a glass of water, not just caffeine. Keep a bottle near you. Flavor it with lemon, cucumber, or mint if plain water doesn't appeal to you. Set reminders if you have to. Your cells are thirsty even if your brain isn't. And here's something beautiful. Once you start hydrating consistently, you'll feel the difference. You'll move easier, think clearer, sleep better. Your body will start thanking you in subtle but powerful ways. You don't need a fancy diet or supplements to begin. Sometimes vitality starts with something as humble and as miraculous as a glass of water. We are raised to be kind, to be helpful, to say yes when someone needs us. And that's beautiful. But somewhere along the way, many of us confuse kindness with self-abandonment. We say yes even when we're exhausted. We agree to things that stretch us thin. We put others first so often that we forget we matter too. Saying yes isn't always generous. Sometimes it's avoidance, avoiding conflict, avoiding guilt, avoiding disappointing someone. But here's what we don't always realize. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could nourish you. And the cost? It adds up in energy, in stress, in sleep, in the quiet bitterness that creeps in when your own needs go ignored for too long. That kind of chronic self-neglect doesn't just dim your spirit, it accelerates aging. It wears down your nervous system. It keeps your body in a low-grade state of stress day after day. I remember a time when my calendar was full, but my soul felt empty. I was doing the right thing for everyone else, and slowly losing myself in the process. My body felt the weight before my mind could name it. Fatigue, headaches, irritability, burnout dressed up as responsibility. So here's the truth. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. Saying no isn't unkind, it's honest. And every time you say yes to yourself, you give your future more strength, more time, more peace. Start small. Say no to a task you can delegate. Say no to an event you don't want to attend. Say yes to an hour alone. Say yes to silence, to slowness, to your own well-being. Because the world doesn't need a more exhausted version of you. It needs a whole you, a vibrant you. And that begins with honoring your limits, one decision at a time. You don't lose strength because you age. You age because you stop using your strength. Let that sink in. Our bodies were designed to move every day in small but meaningful ways. But in a world built for convenience, movement has become optional. We drive instead of walk. We sit for hours, we scroll instead of stretch. And slowly, the body begins to forget what it was built for. And here's what's even more sobering. After the age of 30, if you don't actively maintain muscle, you lose it. Slowly at first, then rapidly. Your bones become brittle. Your balance declines. Your posture crumbles. Your body becomes more fragile. And that fragility? It's one of the greatest predictors of early aging, but it doesn't have to be this way. I used to think exercise had to be intense, sweaty, exhausting. That if I couldn't go to the gym or run a mile, it wasn't worth it. That belief kept me inactive for years. But movement isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Take a daily walk, stretch while the kettle boils, dance to your favorite song, do light strength training with cans of soup. Sit on the floor and stand back up again, because that simple action builds muscles you'll need as you grow older. Strength is more than just fitness, it's freedom. The freedom to carry your groceries, to play with your grandkids, to walk without fear of falling, to stand tall with confidence. And movement isn't just good for your body, it's medicine for your brain. It boosts mood, sharpens memory, improves sleep, reduces pain. Every step you take tells your body, I'm still alive, I'm still here, I'm not giving up. So if you've been still for too long, don't feel guilty. Just begin again. Start small. Start today. Because you don't need to chase youth. You just need to keep moving toward vitality. Negativity doesn't always come in loud, obvious packages. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like background noise, a dramatic news segment, a constant scroll of complaints, a bitter conversation you didn't ask for, a comment thread that leaves you unsettled. And before you know it, your nervous system is on high alert all day long. We like to think we can separate what we consume from how we feel, but we can't. Your brain is listening, your heart is reacting, your body is absorbing. Negativity has a weight to it, not just emotionally, but biologically. Chronic exposure to stress, fear, outrage, even secondhand, releases chemicals that accelerate inflammation, weaken your immune system, disrupt sleep, and speed up aging. That daily tension you carry in your shoulders, that tightness in your chest, that short fuse, it could be your environment more than your personality. I used to wake up and check the news before I even got out of bed. I'd scroll through social media while eating, letting other people's chaos set the tone for my day. I thought I was staying informed. In reality, I was starting every morning already anxious, already on edge, already behind. But once I stepped back, even a little, I noticed the change. More calm, more clarity, more space to think my own thoughts instead of absorbing everyone else's. This doesn't mean you have to live in a bubble. It means you get to choose what you allow in, protect your inputs. Start your day with quiet instead of noise. Be mindful of what you scroll through. Don't join every argument. Mute, unfollow, log off when you need to. Because peace isn't passive, it's intentional. And the more you guard your mind from daily negativity, the more energy, clarity, and joy you preserve for what actually matters. Food is more than fuel. It's connection, culture, comfort, celebration. But somewhere along the line, meals became just another task, something to check off the list between errands, meetings, chores. We eat in the car, at the desk, in front of the TV, and we rush, not just through the act of eating, but through the experience of being with our food. And that's a problem. Not just for digestion, but for longevity. Rushed meals often lead to overeating or undereating, poor nutrient absorption, blood sugar spikes, stress on your gut. But even more than that, they rob you of one of life's simplest, most nourishing rituals, presence. There's something deeply healing about sitting down to eat, about taking a moment to breathe, to chew slowly, to taste, to give thanks. When you rush through meals, you teach your body that nourishment isn't a priority, that survival is more important than enjoyment, that you don't have time for the very thing that sustains you, and over time that habit wears on you, not just physically, but emotionally. It sends the message that you are not worth slowing down for. I used to eat while working, while walking, while thinking about the next thing. And I didn't realize how disconnected I was until I started doing the opposite. Putting my phone down, sitting at the table, lighting a candle, eating slowly, even for just one meal a day. And the shift was immediate. Better digestion, better sleep, more satisfaction, less anxiety. It's amazing how something so simple can change so much. So no, you don't need to cook gourmet meals every night, but you do need to give yourself the gift of attention. Sit, taste, breathe, because how you eat is how you live. And you deserve to live slowly, fully, and well. It sounds noble, selfless, even admirable. Putting others first, taking care of everyone around you, showing up, supporting, sacrificing. It's what good people do, right? But here's the hidden cost. When you always put yourself last, you disappear from your own life. You start to shrink. You stop asking what you want, what you need. You become the one who never rests, never complains, never receives. And after years of that, something breaks. Sometimes it's your health, sometimes your spirit, sometimes your sense of identity. I know this all too well. There was a time when I believed being a good parent, partner, friend, or worker meant constantly showing up for everyone else, until I had nothing left to show for myself. I called it strength. But really it was avoidance. I didn't know how to let myself be important. The truth is, self-neglect isn't sustainable. It ages you, not just in years, but in light. You become more exhausted, more resentful, more prone to illness. And eventually, the people who relied on you don't get the best of you. They get the burned out, hollowed out version of you. Putting yourself first doesn't mean being selfish. It means being responsible for your own well-being. It means understanding that you are a person too, with needs that deserve attention. So take the walk, book the appointment, ask for help, say no, rest, nourish, create, laugh. Not because everything else is done, but because you matter. And when you start honoring your own life, not just existing for others, you begin to feel something beautiful returning. Your energy, your clarity, your joy, yourself. You weren't born to be background noise in your own story. You were born to live it, fully, brightly, unapologetically. And that begins the moment you stop putting yourself last. It's a quiet kind of aging, the one that happens not in your bones or joints, but in your heart. The kind that creeps in when days go by without real conversation, when your phone stays silent, when your meals are eaten alone, when you go to bed without having laughed, shared, or been seen. Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it just looks like routine, like independence, like strength. We say we're fine, we keep busy, we stay in. We don't want to bother anyone. And little by little we become islands. But here's what the science tells us, and what the soul already knows. Isolation is one of the most dangerous things for your health. It's not just bad for your mood, it's bad for your body. Chronic loneliness can increase your risk of cognitive decline, heart disease, weakened immunity, and early death. Yes, early death. And the cruelest part? It usually happens slowly. A missed invitation, a postponed visit, a friend who moved, a spouse who passed. And without noticing, connection becomes the one thing we long for, but stop reaching for. Used to think I was strong for doing everything on my own. I wore my independence like armor, but it was just a mask. Underneath, I was tired, not just physically, existentially. I missed being known. We were not made to do this life alone. We are wired for touch, for laughter, for shared stories and warm meals and unexpected check-ins. Human connection doesn't have to be big or loud, it just has to be real. Call someone, not a text, a real call. Wave to your neighbor. Write that. Email. Join a group. Ask someone to coffee. Say yes to community even when it feels awkward at first. Because that awkward moment may save you from months of loneliness you didn't even realize was weighing you down. And if no one's reaching out to you, be the one who reaches. Someone else might be waiting for you too. Aging with grace isn't just about how you move or what you eat. It's about staying connected to people, to life, to love. Don't disappear. Don't retreat into the shadows of not wanting to bother anyone. You belong here. Your presence still matters. Someone needs your story, your wisdom, your smile, so reach. You've made it this far. And I want to say something clearly. This video was never about scaring you. It was about reminding you of your power, your value, and your ability to change the way you live, starting right now. None of us can stop aging, but we can stop accelerating it. We can stop shrinking ourselves under pressure. We can stop numbing out and calling it normal. We can stop giving our days away to habits that slowly drain the joy, energy, and connection out of life. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul everything by tomorrow, but you can start paying attention. You can choose today to drink more water, to slow down your meals, to move a little, to say no more often, to rest without guilt, to check in with your heart, to reach out and say, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." Because aging doesn't just happen in the body, it happens in the choices we repeat. And those choices, they are always yours. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not stuck. You are not invisible. You are alive. You are here, and that means you still have time to shift, to soften, to heal, to reclaim what might have been lost in the busyness of surviving. So I'll leave you with this. Your habits shape your future. And the good news? You get to shape your habits. Choose ones that make you feel more alive, and in doing so, you just might give yourself not only more years, but better ones. Let that be your legacy, not just how long you lived, but how deeply you lived. One small change at a time.